We'll come.
Both male and female was something along the lines of this. Yes, rape is wrong. But what is a girl doing in a room with 4 boys? Now, if we can forget the horrible inhumanity of that response, these Nigerians have been raised to think of women as inherently guilty. And they've been raised to expect so little of men that the idea of men as savage beings without any control is somehow acceptable. We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something. And so, girls grow up to be women who cannot say they have desire. They grow up to be women who silence themselves. They grow up to be women who cannot say what they truly think. And they grow up, and this is the worst thing we do to girls, they grow up to be women who have turned pretense into an art form.
But now things have changed, and my God, I realize that I am blessed. And what more can I say? Yeah, thank you, Lord.
All right, welcome back. It's the annual Change Your Life Show, 2014 edition. Are you here with me? We've got an audience somewhere there. All right, joining us on the show now is one of Nigeria's most successful international fashion designer, and recently one of Nigeria's scariest bloggers, Mr. Emmy Collins. Morning, Emmy.
Morning, Philo.
You know people are scared of you.
They don't have to be scared.
But you know they are scared of you.
I've heard about it.
And you know, the annoying thing is that you mentioned on your blog that I was a friend of yours. So now they're scared of me. You know?
By association, right?
By association.
Guilty by association. But basically what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is what everybody wants to say.
But they're too afraid to say
But
it.
nobody's saying it. So
Okay.
that's it.
I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, you saw the first segment. Do you think that women are just being hysterical? That there's nothing to worry about? I mean, looking at Nigeria and the role of women in Nigeria and their place in Nigeria and the issue of abuse on every level.
Actually, because I've actually been in a panel, and I was the only man in that panel where this was discussed, and that was a few months ago. And I listened to women saying the same thing you guys are saying over here, and I have to say that I quite agree with Shola here, because the issue is that, you know, I always say that if someone is abusing you, we can say whatever. The government can enact all sorts of law. People can say whatever, carry up arms or whatever, and, you know. But the only person who has the ultimate authority to stop that abuse is the person who is being abused. So I have always tried to see it from the position that we need to empower the woman to know that she has a right, and to know that she has just as much right as the man, and she has as much opportunity as the man.
But is that true,
Can
really?
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Emmy, can I ask you a question? You're a man. Can you try and help us get a glimpse of the male mind? What is it about women being in positions of authority or being able to take care of themselves that scares a lot of men?
Personally, I think I might be the wrong person to answer to ask that question.
But I'm sure you have friends, and I'm sure that when you do the men thing,
because the same question you're asking, I actually asked them, because for me, I think what actually...
Well, you've had cause to ask them that question because you recognize there's something going on there.
I recognize that it comes from the position of insecurity. Okay, I'm not insecure, and I'm actually insecure when I'm dealing with a woman who is insecure. So I like to deal with a woman who's secured, who's confident.
So you're an exception that proves the rule.
Exactly. So
now we won't talk about you. I want you to jump in, Machi, at any point.
All right,
here.
He's talking about being insecure, and Madam Shola did talk about women allowing themselves to be maybe demeaned or something like that. But there is another case I would love to draw into the light, whereby you are quite confident. There's something I've noticed about confident women. Okay. When you're very confident, there is the possibility of people tagging you as being arrogant.
True.
Right now, there's a thin line between confidence
and arrogance.
Basically. Arrogance. If you try as much as possible to share your views, if you want to be opinionated as a woman, you are tagged as arrogant. And that is something someone like myself, you know, I have suffered from. When you can speak out, when you can talk, when you can challenge a man's authority, you are considered arrogant.
Is this even when you challenge a man's authority, as in when you're just alive and you are voicing your own?
I
want to go to the issue of insecurity and what might be at the root of it, and why it's a bigger issue for us here. It might be a bigger issue for us here, because there's that thing. All human beings have that thing about insecurity at one point, you know, just being So if you have an environment and it's a situation where, you know, we have some challenges that we're working on as a nation, but you must admit that this is a situation because of the poverty level, because of some of the challenges that we're grappling with as a nation. People generally feel powerless. So if you then have a large male population feeling powerless anyway because they are not able to do everything that they would like to do, isn't it almost what happens that you turn against the so-called weaker? Because it seems like the men feel a bit disempowered, they turn against the women. The women and the men feel a bit disempowered, they turn against the children, and the maids. And the megats,
and the cycle
continues. Isn't there at the root of it, going back to actually our national question and fixing institutions and systems and processes that protect and guarantee people their dignity as human beings? Or am I taking it too? Am I getting too?
You know, for me, I always think, you know, I mean, the men in Nigeria, believe me, I mean, I might sound like a feminist or something like that, but
we should all be feminist.
Something to apologize for.
No, I don't apologize. And people, I mean, anyone can tell you that I don't apologize for who I am.
You don't apologize for anything?
Yeah, I don't apologize for anything. If I feel like saying something, it doesn't matter if a million people are saying different thing, I'm just going to say what I want to say. Okay? But the situation now is that we can say whatever, speak grammar, whatever. I think we still have to let the woman understand one thing. You know, if you're doing certain things and a man is scared of you because you're trying to put your best foot forward, you've been trained as a lawyer and you're trying to be a lawyer, and someone is being scared or insecure about that, then you probably don't even need that person, and that shouldn't stop you. You know, because as someone who lived in the UK, still live in the UK as a minority, okay, I see people making excuses. Oh, is it because I'm black or because I'm that? But I can tell you today, for anything that I didn't achieve, it was not because I'm not going to use my color as an excuse. Because as a black person in the UK today, I still believe that we all have excuses, opportunity. So it depends on whether you want to look at it at a wrong area or in the right direction. When you go over this place, it doesn't work. You go over the other end. So for you as a lady, you know what I can advise you is that any person who is scared of who you are because of your strength, your confidence, you don't even need that person. You know, I know it is a problem, you know, especially when you are in a male-dominated industry or something like that. But what we got to do is that the society have to come together and fight this and try to rechannel people's mindset.
But for
We
me,
shouldn't forget
I agree
something.
with you that in the situation where you have a majority of people who are vulnerable, then the government or authority structure has to put structures in place to protect those people. Now, even when you have put those structures in place, like the laws and whatever, that enlightenment and all of those things, the box still stops at that young child at an early age being socialized to say you are who you are and you can be everything that you can be. We need parents who would bring children up without fear, bring them up without insecurity, bring them up with confidence and tell
Bring them up
And love
equally.
And love as well.
I grew up
And
in a
love.
house where my mother, until I was like a teenager, I didn't know that there was a difference between me and the male people around me, because we all did the same work. We all did kitchen work together.
Yep.
We did, we fetched water together. We did everything together. My mother didn't say, you are a woman, sit here. I didn't even know I was a woman until people outside telling me, you are a girl, don't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to do it, I do it. So we need more,
You're
more
amongst
families
the
like that.
few privileged to have such type of upbringing. Let's look at the Nigerian populace in general. Not everybody is like you. Maybe your father is educated.
No,
Is your
it's
father
not,
educated?
it has nothing to do with education.
No, maybe your father is educated
That
or
has
he
nothing to do
has
with
some
education.
certain measure of enlightenment. Fine, that can help you.
I
But if
grew
you
up
look
in
at the
Ojuelegba.
typical Nigerian scene,
Ojuelegba.
if you look at the typical Nigerian scene, what you will notice is that, first and foremost, we have culture, we have tradition, and if we have to follow our cultures as our culture as Africans and as Nigerians, from wherever you come from wherever I come from, it is known that a woman is under
this is
the
where I
man.
want to jump in and say we
and
must all
that to
actually
some
go back
extent
to what
puts you
our
down.
real culture is as against what they tell us our
Exactly.
culture. And you know, Nigeria is made up of different nation states. I, as a Yoruba woman, for example, you know, was not raised, I shared that with Shola. I did not know I was female until somebody told me so.
Yep.
You know, I just was Aduke Yoda.
You would not compare yourself
You know,
with a
so, but
woman
what
from
I'm
the
saying-
northern
that's
part
what
of
I'm saying
Nigeria.
now. That's what I'm saying, that we have to be sensitive to all the differences that we have, number one, but also for each area, even in Yoruba land now, they are telling us differently than what we used to be. What they are telling us is the role of the woman was not the role of the woman. So we have to also relearn our culture. But I'd like to go back to something. Whether it's different nation states, first and foremost, there's a Nigerian state, and the Nigerian state should supersede everything. I suppose that you live in the UK. Human beings are the same everywhere. If you took away the systems and institutions that protect people, oh, you don't want to see what they become.
Yeah,
Barbarians.
of course, true.
Exactly.
True, you're right.
So what is the role, of states,
Of the government.
yes, of the government, even in reorientation and education, as well as policies that protect the weakest in a society,
vulnerable, yeah.
the most vulnerable?
If, from my point of view, I think where the state comes in, like, you know, like I've just said, the state can do everything, but at the end of the day, I think it still comes back to upbringing. Because I have an instance yesterday, okay, I have my niece and my nephew, you know, in my house for the holidays, okay, and I started noticing that my nephew eats and he drops the plate for my niece to wash. I wash my own plates. And then I called him the other day. I said, you know what? If you're ever going to eat in this house,
You wash your own
your plate. So this thing starts from homes,
Yes.
okay? Because when you women start telling us that we are everything,
Exactly.
that we shouldn't wash clothes, we shouldn't do this, we listen to you. So what I'm just trying to say is that it's always easy to pass the buck. But at the end of the day, it is the women who made us what we are.
Right.
Very profound.
It's just as simple as
is
that.
profound.
You know,
That is
so
very
the government can enact laws, you know, or have all these awareness systems, billboards all over the place. But if the male child goes back at home and he's treated differently from the female child, whatever the government is doing It's not going to work.
All
It's
right.
null and void.
That's where I'm going to leave this conversation now. I mean, Emmy, I would like to sit down with you to discuss 1,000,001 things. You know
Of
that.
course, I know.
And that opportunity is coming. But I'm going to say thank you for coming to share this life with us. Everybody's wondering what happened to the bunch. I don't know myself. I mean, it's my job to tell you the truth. They just sent us an email a few hours ago and say, no, the bunch can't make it. I don't like that. I think it's rude.
It's disrespectful.
I think it's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful.
And I'm saying it publicly. The children were looking forward to seeing him. And I've said it publicly. Forget. It's not good. Right? So we're going to take a short break. When we come back from the break, it will be another segment. We have people who are doing tremendous things, men and women. But I really want to shine light on the women, especially ordinary women, doing extraordinary things.